Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. This is the power supply from a Japanese N64 and you can see the cables being cut and I'm not in Japan, so it doesn't work very well for me. I thought we'd have a quick look inside this and see if there's a way we can get this working on a UK console. And basically what it is, it's a 12 volt and 5 volt out if I'm not mistaken. In fact, it does say it's a 3v3 volt and a 12 volt out. Which is, I don't know, a little bit odd in its own right, but it's fine. So that's the main board. It's got all your traditional power supply elements. So there's your input fuse, so that's always an interesting one. 1.5 amps, 250 volts. Interesting, interesting. Who knows? You could probably power this up and it would do something interesting and blow up if you're running it in the UK. However, I have another approach. I just bought this on eBay and it is a UK plug power supply that comes ready to go, but it does look a little bit more jank because the connector quality and stuff isn't quite as good. It does work though, you can plug it in, which is great, but I was just curious to see if the insides are very similar or not, well, how similar they are to the original power supply. Bearing in mind, of course, it is a Japanese one, but I don't think there'll be too much differences in variation between these aftermarket power supplies. It is interesting that they've got this clip integrated into their plastic, so they've cost engineered it down even further than Nintendo bothered. Although I noticed on the N64 it's a Zebra or something power supply, so obviously have a different company that's making a bit of money doing it. Wow. So you can see it's definitely a simpler power supply and a cheaper one. The connectors are looking a little bit floaty. But let's have a look. Oh no, it's screwed in. It's screwed into the board. Is there another screw in here? Yes, there is. There's a hiding one. You can have a look. You can have a look nice and close while we're working it. Let's flip it upside down, have a look. Ooh. So it is isolated. Look, there is an opto isolator. There's your transformer. And there's your anti-tracking gap here. So you're not going to get electrics jumping over there in a hurry. Interesting. I mean, I don't know that much about power supplies. Obviously, you'd need to watch something like EV blog. But it's all got the basic elements. I think there's your, that looks suspiciously like full wave bridge rectifier here. Going to the capacitor. So that's the power supply for this guy, which is obviously providing some sort of feedback, I'm guessing. You need a power supply guy to tell you what's going on here. Now the question is though, would this fit in a real Nintendo case? So if you wanted to keep everything legit looking, so you'd have to pop that bit in there. It's a little tight, I'll put it that way. I think there are some features here on the board that's stopping it doing that, but let's see how that would go. It wouldn't. And I've just noticed this thing, you have to be careful. You could technically put it in upside down and you'd have a big problem. How does that match the actual Nintendo one? I mean, it's similar. See, it lacks the curvy feature, but it is similar. Maybe with a bit of effort you could, but whether or not it's worthwhile. Okay, let's see if a top will fit on a bottom. Huh. Oh yeah, of course it would, because they're both Nintendo parts. You want to try this. So they've got the plastic shells sorta working. me have a little think about this. Maybe we'll get something going. With a bit of reshaping of the plastics on this, you can actually get this to fit. You have to be very careful though, I have to say. You've got mains in this corner and they're on the exposed edge of this PCB, where on the original there's a hell of a lot more gap. So any issue here with that screw, and you could have a live screw here. I do not advise you do this at all, but I'm just going to do it because I kind of want to still see if it's can be done. So there is a circuit here that controls the port. It's just a little PCB. You can see it was on that cutoff and it's come off. And they have a little ribbon cable here. And that's all the various connections. And you can see on this one they've just used some wires. It is possible, and I think I will do it, to actually just remove this. In fact, I will remove it because I've already buzzed out the layout. So from that end you can see that is what that port looks like. That's what's drawn on the side of the box anyway, on the AC adapter. But here you have this ribbon cable coming out the bottom, and that's the ribbon cable there. The first pin is the 12, the next three are the 0 volts, and the last two are the 3 volts. So it shows quite clearly on this PCB what those things are on this one. So you could quite easily, in fact let's just do it, swap them out. And I say quite easily. You've got a board where it's got 3 pins on a ribbon cable, and we're going to swap them out with something that doesn't. So it's not like perfectly easy where it's just a one-to-one swap. So let's see. I'm going to zoom out so you can have a better look at what I'm up to. Get out. Get out of it. It's quite nice though that they've got the ends nicely finished with these little crimped on doolies. Right, so we've got that off. Let's whip it away while we're here. You've got to be careful with all of these units really, because I'm not sure they have to meet any particular standards. We just seem to get them on eBay, imported any which way. Nobody seems to be responsible. Interestingly enough, I had something similar on the GameCube, but I did a different thing on that one. That's got a fly lead that goes into the back of the unit. So what I did was I actually removed that lead and found a suitable power supply that had a screw case. So I unscrewed the power supply case very much like one of these. So it's very similar to a laptop power supply. It was just a 12 volt 3.5 amps. I think it was more powerful, slightly more current than the original, so it's uprated. And that is a much safer bet because you're literally just, you're just replacing the lead on the existing power supply. The existing rated UK power supply. It's at that as well, one that's sourced in the UK and meets all the regulations. So I've solder sucked all these. So it always needs a little bit of extra work here now to wiggle this through. Oh, there you go. Now it popped. So we can throw that away. Unless anybody's keen on a Japanese N64 block, you can let me know. So effectively, you've got to solder in these guys. Now they're all a little bit higgledy-poggledy, as we decided when we're going to do this. So I'm going to split them because you've got ground, 3 and 12 in that order. So it's all a totally different order. So let's just split these carefully. You don't want to tug them too hard because you can split the insulation in a way you didn't want to split it. That's what she said. Let's get this off. So we've got our 3 volts, our 0 volts, everything is there now. This ground is an interesting one because you've got 3 pins to get in there, so we might just trim that here by cutting there and there. And that could allow us to get all 3 pins twisted. through that hole. So let's go for it, shall we? There's your 3 grounds. Stay there. Don't move a muscle. We got them, all 3. I'm going to wait, I'm going to be a bit patient with this one. We don't want to mess it up. So we have our 3 volts, that's just 2, so hopefully, well, I don't know. I think that'll also benefit from the little cut, to be honest. I've noticed there's no fuse in here, is there? Oh yeah, there is. There is a little fuse. My word. We're going to get the 3v3 in, and I think let's have a little play with this, and I'll see if I can just get that 12 volts over the right place while we're at it, so we can solder all 3 at once. Three volts, 12 volts. I'm just going to turn it over, check. Yeah, not sure about that. 3 volts could do a little push, so I'm going to push it with my thumb while I just heat the joint. And yeah, that's good. Just as I was pushing it, it flexed and tried to jump out of the way. Good. So, with a bit of luck, it should be now Nintendo style. Look at that. That's got nice clearance there, so there's no way that's shorting on anything. You've got a nice big gap. So you want to make sure PCB's got a little twist. There we go. I don't want the twist on it. So you want to make sure that that is nice and clear, because you do have here a tube, I don't know what we call these things, a tube that's going to fit in there, and then our screw will be inside the tube. So it will be okay, but you just want to make sure that that tube's going to go all the way in. In fact, if you put this together and it doesn't clamp together, that's going to be your main warning sign that something's amiss on that score. Let's see if we can get this in. In fact, probably should start at the front. Something doesn't want to clip. Check that. Oh, is it that massive? Is it that massive capacitor? That capacitor is really just on the edge of fitting. The edge of sanity. I'm gonna have to let's finagle this. Finagling complete. Look, that did actually all go in exactly how you want it. I'm actually happier now about this in here, and I'll tell you why. I just noticed something looking at the bottom of that. You see this power supply? So remember, here is where all of that mains is sitting. You've just got this little tiny thing here, look. That little piece of sticky tape is what's stopping you going and electrocuting yourself. Not that necessarily you can deflect it that much down when the PCB is screwed in there, but you might. I don't know. No thanks. Right, let's just get this screwed up, and then we're going to test it. Now, we're not going to test it in our machine, because that would be bad. Oh no. Don't rush it. Don't rush the security bits. You're going to ram them. As I've learnt to my peril many times. So this plastic case is definitely better than the one that it comes with. No rattles, no shakes. Plug it in. Nice. No mains on the screw holes. No, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. It wouldn't go together. Trust me, I don't think it'll go together if that was wrong. If you do put this together and it's looking a bit dicey, do not, under any circumstances, plug it in. Right, let's try the 0 volts. So any of these 3 pins on the left are 0. Oh, I'm going to need another probey thing. Okay, got another quality probe, which is basically a screwdriver. And we're going to test that there. 3.28 volts on that pin. I'm going to move it across, should also be 3 volts. 3.28, close enough. This one should be 12 volts, bit under. And then I'm going to put it into continuity mode, and then there we go. As expected. I'm not sure if you want to do it or not, but that is how you do it if you wanted to. Hopefully that's been of some use to you in you not doing this. As ever, thank you for watching. Just one more thought before I threw this all away, which I probably won't now, is I just thought you could use this to make your own power supply for your N64 now. It's not like you have to be short of one. I have 3 N64s and currently only one power supply between them. But if I look around, I'm sure I'll have a laptopy type power supply that will have the 12 volts and the 3v3. It's infinitely possible to actually mount that here and put a jack on the back here and then make this whole thing just an adapter. And that's totally safer to do. There's no need to have any gubbins in here. And if you've got the original Japanese one, you could just as easily do that to an original Japanese one too. So you just literally place a connector on the back. Could be a DIN style or whatever that laptop uses. And even if you wanted to, you could probably put I'd have to check the currents on the 12 volts and the 3 volts, but maybe this whole system needs the 3v3. In fact, it says it's 2.7 volts at 3v3 and 12 volts at 0.8 amp. So you could easily probably get a boost converter in there and get your 12 volts off that, but primarily run it as a 3v3 or 5 volts into this and then just work out those internally. So yeah, that's actually worth keeping. I'm going to keep that.